Hello guys and welcome, Soren here, and today we are finally doing the Splatoon 2 tier list video. The final tier list, hopefully? No, probably not, but one of the most late tier list possible with the Sheldon picks this time. It's been a long while since I haven't done a tier list video, almost a year. The last one was version 3.0, and a bunch of weapons have released between the Kensa collection, the Sheldon picks now and there's a lot of things for me to talk about. So I'll still try to make it not so long when I'm talking about the lower tiers, which is the bottom six tiers, and I'll spend a bit more time on the top three tiers. All right, then let's get into it. So for the bottom tier, the C minus, I compiled six weapons that are all really bad at everything possible. Like I compiled all the five snipers that shouldn't even exist in the game because they are completely like they don't have any purpose in this game, to be honest. All of these five chargers, they don't have any range. Why would you play a charger that have no range? The weapon doesn't paint. The weapon can only kill, and the weapon needs to charge. So why would you need a weapon that charge at short range where you're not even safe? Well, there are so many reasons why this weapon are bad. And outside of the main weapon, can also talk about the sub and special weapon. Sub and special weapon, I made a tier list about sub and special. Obviously, the recent patches made it change a bit, but in general, the ideas are still pretty accurate, I think. And the reason for these five weapons to be so bad is definitely the kits, but also the main weapon. And talking about something that uh, it's pretty insane. You know, Undercover Umbrella, it has two sisters. There's the custom undercover umbrella, or I think it's undercover story umbrella, the name, and there's the Kensa undercover umbrella. Well, you'll see by going up the tiers in this tier list that undercover umbrella is actually a really bad main weapon, and if you give it the right kits, so basically the right sub and the right special, it can be a really good weapon. And my take here is that the kit is really important into weapon effectiveness. You will see that there will be almost no tier in this entire tier list where two main weapons are next to each other, just different version of the kits. Usually the kits matter too much and improve the weapon performance or decrease it basically. So that's where we have the Undercover Umbrella, the Vanilla one, Ink Mine Splashdown. This is really super fucking bad. The main weapon doesn't do anything. I'm sorry, but this weapon shouldn't exist. But the main weapon exists with a better kit in a better tier. We'll see later. C tier. Oh, well, I'm dying, bro. Anyway, C tier. Inkbrush, things are all the Clash Blaster. I compiled all the bad weapons, the really worst weapons of each category that are not charges or umbrellas, because you'll see that umbrella is probably the best category in the entire game in terms of playability of the weapons. That said, the brush with Splashdown I don't think it's good, but I want to talk about a bit about the brush with Bowler. I will talk about it later. I think it's a really good weapon, and we will see again that this weapon gets another roll of the worst specials possible. It gets splashed down with Splat Bomb, literally no synergy together with the main weapon. You get nothing done. Well, it's really bad. Fling Star Roller, Clash Blaster, the custom range blasters, Plush, all of them are really bad main weapons because they don't really get anything done. Same for Iris Spray or even Blob Blobber, but I think ends up as a decent main weapon. But the reason why this is so low is because of the kits. To be honest, it gets Auto Bomb and Tenta Missiles. This is simply unplayable. Even if the Tenta Missiles got a rise in the recent meta with the Mini Spotling and the Kansas Spell Shots, I really think the Orange NZF is literally unplayable right now. And this is mainly due to Auto Bomb doing nothing and missiles being, even if you spam them, you don't have any synergy with NZAP. You can't follow damage with Auto Bomb. This is really bad. Getting up one more tier now. We're starting to see some maybe controversial choice in this tier list. So I put the Eliter Bubble pretty low, the Kensa Charger pretty low. I don't think it's really good. The Kensa Charger, the main weapon is pretty solid. I could have put it a bit higher, but Why would you give it bowler? Like bowler is a short range, short range special, like for real. It's shortest range weapon, shortest range weapon possible. And you have Booyah, which is basically the bowler with long range. But it is definitely not good suited against the Charger to have a bowler there. I don't think it works at all. Elater, the main weapon is too weak. The main weapon charges for too long. You have only 4 shots after before your ink tank runs out of ink. And even then, the old kit is bad. Beacons are really weak in Splatoon 2, although it depends of the main weapon, ballpoint and Tentabella can get a lot of value from the beacons, but if you couple it with the legendary bubble blower and you have a main weapon that's called Elater, you have nothing that can pop the bubbles by yourself. You're kind of L plus to be honest. Your main weapon doesn't pop the bubbles. Your sub weapon is a beacon, doesn't do anything with the bubbles. It's pretty complicated again. I just to put this hing brush here because I think I like the fact you can spam armor, but why would you spam armor with a weapon that doesn't do anything as a main weapon, and you cannot you don't have synergy with the main weapon and the special or the sub. Basically, the sprinkler and the armor work pretty well together on paper, but we saw recently, like in the game, that in general this combo didn't work so well. We saw it with the 9-6 Gal, for example. Sprinkler and armor are not is not one of the best combos in the game. And at the same time, Inkbrush doesn't have any synergy with it, so let's see later with the Inkmine Bully version. Compiling another row of bad main weapons or weapons that are considerable as like worse as other versions. We can see I put the other undercover umbrella, so the undercover story umbrella. Spot bomb and bowler, I think is decent. The kid is pretty fine, but again the main weapon doesn't do anything. And I hesitated put it double a bit higher to be honest, but oh yeah, it lacks range a lot. It got a lot of nerf, uh, like indirect nerf because of the release of the other weapons, and that made me change my mind there. I think the most controversial choice of this entire tier is probably the Rapid Blaster being there. I put it very very low because I really don't think it's good right now. The main weapon like really struggles at getting kills in the current meta. It's too fast for it, get destroyed by pretty much everything, plays too slow, doesn't input enough damage. And the kits with Ink Mine and the Spot Bomb Rush is gonna be very weak. Alright then, I think that's gonna be it for the first 3 tiers. I really try to make this video not the longest possible, so I don't want to talk about every weapon. But if you still have something that you don't understand about a weapon, please ask me in the comments. I'll definitely answer. Alright then, let's get into the mid tier now with B, A minus, and A. I think these 3 tiers are very close to each other, especially A minus and B. I had a bit of trouble like debating with myself, trying to figure out which one is the closest, but I think A minus and B are pretty close together, and A is a bit closer to the I tier, like really closer, because I think there's a high difference between A and A minus, but there's a small difference between A minus and B. Talking about B minus first, I started putting Bamboozler, so you could be wondering why I put Bamboozler so high when I put Squiffer and Go Tuber so low. Well, the main reason is because of main power up. I don't think this weapon is so bad. I don't think this weapon is so bad. I think this weapon has a bit of potential. It can be played at really high level and has some decent placement in tournaments. We could see it with the recent PAX East tournament, where there was a Bamboozle player in the grand finals that played really well. And I think this weapon has the problem of being very aim reliable. You have to be very accurate, very in full capacity of aiming, and that's why this weapon is too needy with such a kit. I don't exactly remember what he has. I think he has Burst Bomb Rush though, and something I forgot. I don't think it's curling. I don't think it's curling. I think it's. I don't. I wonder if it's curling. Oh, it's the other one. Anyway, I don't think it's really important there. But I just think this weapon. I just remember this weapon was worse because of the special. So let's be real. First, for a main weapon, I want to say it right away. The special is the most impactful part of the main weapon. Obviously, the sub is less impactful. So I don't think the sub impacts too much on the bamboo viability. But this bamboo burst ball get bourbon rushed. It's not good. And for the rest of the weapons of this tier, I started putting some of the blasters. So I think blasters are not the lowest tier of the game, but right now very hard to play. They're dualies. There's a lot of range. There's a lot of invincible armor bowler. Splash walls that are being played in the meta right now, and that makes blaster very hard to play. You have close to no mobility. But let's compare it for a second with the Squiffer and the Goduber. You don't need to charge to get a one-hit KO at short range, which at least is something that we get over this. Um, I put this plush a bit higher than the other one. So the lowest plush I put was Splashdown. Still is plush higher, so you'll see in the next year. But I think armor is a pretty decent special. You can spam it pretty hard easily with the Splushmatic, and that's where I think it's find is best way. So I'm gonna highlight a bit more about the challenge things in this whole tier list. So let's talk about Enzap for a sec. I think this Enzap is kind of Brella for noobs because Brella is really fucking hard to play. At the highest level, it's even better in lands. It's a bit worse in online because you sometimes can die through your shield due to some like super small lag because it needs some perfect connection to be fully fully in charge. But I think this ends up gets a kit that doesn't fit the weapon at all again. I don't think we're gonna see this weapon get a lot of play. Aerospray with Sheldon pick Aerospray. To be honest, I like the fact you can spam Booyah. It's the exact same thing as the Sploosh. They give it a super short range weapon with no killing power that paints a lot, so you can spam the new special to be happy. Well, have fun. You know, I really don't think this weapon is good, but I like the fact that as burst bomb instead of splash bomb, you can do a bit more a bit more things when you're up close to someone. All right, let's move on to the next tier, and we're gonna go to A minus. And A minus, I started putting the leader. So I told you earlier about the leader. I spoke a bit about the kits being important, but the main weapon being pretty weak due to the longest charge ever. So I should have maybe put the leader a bit lower due to main weapon, but I think this one, as the Inkstorm, which in my opinion is a pretty solid choice on some spots and maps, and in general Inkstorm is good everywhere. I just think that's the only mode where Leader is really playable because it's slow enough for it to work and doesn't need a charge or Stingray to stop the tower or stop the Rainmaker, and it's still completely unplayable in Clown Blitz, obviously. That said, I started putting another round of rollers, so a bit better rollers. There with Carbon being the first, I have a Carbon Ire, the no, the Splashdown roller, and the Dynamo roller with the Booyah. So we got all three dynamos this time. So the first dynamo with armor was one of my lowest. I don't think this weapon is good. Maybe only in tower control. I think this weapon is pretty decent in tower control, but only in solo queue, which in competitive doesn't exist much, to be honest. And I like the Stingray dynamo a bit more. I think they gave it Inkmine Seth Strafe back in the day. They made it feel a bit more playable. Just there are so much better options to use Stingray that I don't think this is really interesting to have this dynamo over any other Stingray weapon. And the Dynamo Booyah, well, there are better Booyah weapons that there's only already one that is better at this tier. For a lot of things, just main weapon is a bit wonky. Let's talk about 52 Gal for a second. The main weapon has the biggest RNG in the entire game. You can have your reticle exactly on the guy for 5 seconds, and you can miss 10 shots. Like this is actually insane. And this weapon is like mad annoying to play due to the RNG because you have absolutely no power on it and it can ruin some important kills in your games because you're really need to get that kill. One moment you aim correctly, even if you aim correctly, it's gonna be GG's. And here I put the Sheldon Picks Cherry H3. This weapon used to be pretty strong in Splatoon 1. Now in Splatoon 2, I think it's pretty meh. Well, like kind of whatever. Probably only good in Columbus if good if it's even good. I like the fact it has splash wall, same as Splatoon 1. It's a bit of a troll from the developers to give it bubble blower, same as Bubbler from Splatoon 1, but we have to deal with it. I will live with it. It's fine. I just think even if the main weapon is okay, I think the kit is too important for this weapon to be viable. We saw it with the, I mean, you will see it, but we knew it's with the H3D and its really big popularity the past few months, even if it has decreased a lot recently. Charge Launcher, top special from the first months of Splatoon 2, got nerfed pretty hard. I don't think it would be strong enough anymore today to be played every maps, but they kind of gave up on it. It's pretty sad. I'm very sad. Let's be real. And talking about the Dapple from Sheldon Picks, I think this weapon is so overrated. It's actually insane. There's so many people that saw it coming with the care of Torpedo and Splashdown just because Torpedo is a really good sub. Well, no. The main weapon still sucks. The main weapon still has no range. You roll, but your torpedo doesn't have time to reach to your target while you roll. So when I face a double dually player and I play, for example, Kansas dualies, I have time to roll towards the guy, kill him, and then shoot the torpedo, and I haven't taken any damage because my range is bigger. And it's not because Kansas dualies is a bad matchup for double dualies. It just means that double dualies struggles against pretty much everything that has range, which is the case of probably like 85% of the weapons in this game, which makes it a bit more harder. And I think I wanted to talk a bit about two more weapons in this tier list, in this tier, sorry. Rapid Pro Deco. Well, it used to be much higher. Like my last tier list, I had Rapid Pro Deco, close to the top, and the armor got popular right after this. And what I think it means is that armor got lower popularity already. Even if armor is still very popular, I think the main weapon of Rapid got really figured out. Like Rapid is losing a lot in popularity, and it's not only due to the main weapon. Also, Splash Hole doesn't work so well with the main weapon, and the release of the Shelton picks and the Kensa weapons, so basically Kensa collection, just made so much weapons completely outdated. And for example, we have the Rapid Pro Deco or the Custom Blaster, which is right next to it. It used to be very popular back in the day. They nerfed one small thing, aka Inkjet, and they let the game do the rest. They didn't change anything else. They just released other weapons that don't work as well. Now, moving on to the next tier, which is going to be the last tier of the mid. A tier now. So Bamboozler, the good old Bamboozler. I talked about it earlier with the Burst Bomb. Talked about it here with the Fizzy Bomb and the Bubble Blower. I think I like this kit. I think this kit is pretty fun. I don't know how playable it is outside of Clamblitz, but I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's hard to play. That's the main problem with Bamboozler is just I said it already with the aiming stuff, but it's really hard to play. But I like a lot the synergy between the main weapon, the sub weapon, and the special. You need only one shot with main power up and a fizzy bomb to kill someone. So it's pretty. I think it's pretty fun and pretty reliable kill as well. Talking about reliable kills between the sub and the weapon, let's talk a bit about Carbon, Deco, and Grim range blasters that both work pretty much the same. You shoot once, and you throw a burst bomb or the opposite, and usually you can pretty much guarantee a kill if you're throwing your burst bomb correctly and you're close enough to your opponent. I think both weapons are fine. Grim Range Blaster, most overhyped weapon of the Sheldon picks. But it was expected. We all knew that Range Blaster had a pretty decent kit already. If it wasn't played, I don't think Graham would have been more played. Even if missiles are good right now, the power of missiles is to be spammed with mini spy lane or Kansas spy shot, and not to take 5 years to get with a Grim Range Blaster. A bit higher now, the Rapid Blaster I talk about with the Cloud. It was my best tier in my last tier list back a few months ago. A lot more actually, a lot more than a few months, but And I think it got lower and lower with the time. It's the same as I said, like the sub weapon of all the rapids are all kinda whatever. None of the sub weapons is really good. Rapid Pro Deco, Splash Wall, Rapid Deco, Rapid Pro is just Mist. Toxic Mist doesn't have any good like spot currently in the meta. It used to be one of the best sub weapons back in the day. Now not anymore, and they haven't made any change to it. They just left it like this. It just the game changed, the way people play changed. Splashmatic, same Toxic Mist Inkjet. Inkjet got nerfed. Inkjet got countered by everything pretty much that is strong right now. Main weapon is a bit short range. I don't think T-Deck is much better. I think it's like kind of map dependent. Ends up good old top weapon, but they made the points for getting armor so high that it's not much harder to actually spam anything with it. And the main weapon doesn't exactly reliably get kills. I don't think it's too strong anymore. So we're gonna have the first version of all the slashers that are not played much, but all the other versions are much more played and much higher in my rank list. Same for minis, same for ballpoint. So I'm gonna talk about them a bit later. I'll just say that's because of the kits being a bit weak compared to the other versions that they're not so played, but the main weapons are fine. Hydra Splatling. Honestly, I don't like this weapon at all. I don't think it's so strong. Uh, it's pretty much the same as custom dual squashers. I think both of these weapons are so overrated. It's actually insane. So I put both of them in A rank. Uh, Hydra Splatling gets a lot of armors, maybe it gets off range, okay, but that's not a charger, that's not a heavy spotting with Stingray, that's not a Booyah Ball, that's just armor, and armor is not something you play on Hydra, it's or backline, it's something you play on the midline. And I think Hydra is probably a fine compromise for Clown Blades, to be honest, but this is pretty much the only mode where it's really playable. And let's get into the squashies, the custom dual squashers. Bro, this thing has no kill power. This is like slowest thing ever to kill. Alright, fair. It got main power up, damage up, but you have to put so much on your build. This weapon is very ink hungry. You need to be able to swim around and have some mobility. It's pretty much impossible. I don't think this weapon is too good right now. Look at Deco. Main weapon actually sucks in terms of RNG. You have to roll absolutely, but it works very well with the sub and the main and the special weapon. So I don't think the other glue guy put it so much lower compared to it. Like we didn't B. I really hesitated putting it lower, but I think Gluga having a wall to roll behind or to put frontwards before using your bowler to engage is really strong. I like it a lot. I don't even know this name. Custom Tetra or something? Oh, the Tetra then, pretty much. Um, it has the Chicken Rush. I don't think Chicken Rush is too strong right now. Like it's a bit sad. Same as Carbon Deco. Like it's kind of whatever special. Doesn't do anything. Pretty much makes you waste a special to be honest. Like you could play any other weapon that has a better special, and the main weapon is not suited to play with a sprinkler. You don't pressure much. You just paint when you're not dead, but you're playing a very aggressive weapon, so it doesn't work as a frontline weapon in my opinion. The Tentasorella Umbrella probably is the name. I think the main weapon is actually fucking broken. Uh, I think Tentabrella is one of the best main weapon in the game. Nothing like out of if you remove all the sub and specials, Tentabrella is actually fucking insane main weapon. Yeah, Splash Wall and Curling Rush, this is such a meme kit, but the main weapon is really strong, and I think that's why I put it so high. Now let's get into the I tier. I already made a lot. Oh my god, this video is already long enough, bro. So I'm gonna take another long time, probably like 20 minutes to explain the old top tier list, but let's get into it. Alright, it's time for the top three tiers of this tier list. I think all these weapons are good enough to be played in competitive. This is not the case for the for the tiers below. I think S tier is mostly for niche weapons. S plus is for really good weapons on two modes and more, and X tier is gonna be weapons that are good and really should be played on every fucking mode in this game. This is the kind of the broken tier in my opinion, but that's how it is. S rank then. Let's start with the Firefin Chargers. Both of them pretty niche. I think it's fine in Clamp, it's fine in spot zones, but not all maps. There we go. Main weapon is fine. As splash wall works pretty well with the weapon because you get long range a wall, pretty much like in front of you. Cancer Rapid Deco. Uh, Cancer Rapid? Just Cancer Rapid. Cancer Rapid is like it's a long range weapon with a torpedo. And the reason why it's not higher is because it's a long range weapon with a torpedo. It should be a short range weapon with a torpedo that can actually delay your opponent. Pretty much like one of the weapons we'll find later. That's called Cancer Undercover. And Cancer Rapid as bowler, it's a really good kit on paper. I just don't think the main weapon and the torpedo work too well together. It's a little too slow to get the torpedo to reach your opponent, and usually your opponent is not in range to be shot at and torpedoed at the same time. So I don't think the Rapid is the strongest, but is definitely the best Rapid out there. Now Splash-O-Matic. This is the new Splash-O-Matic, and this one I love it personally. I really love it. Burst Bomb Suction Rush is the best, one of the best weapon for turf war out there, and I think it's pretty niche in some Spasms and Clamblitz maps again. Usually you don't play Bomb Rush outside of Spasms and Clamblitz anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much it about New Splash. Ah, the Vanilla Pro. I hesitated putting it lower. Maybe I should have. Honestly, maybe I'm overrating it a bit right now. But I love the point sensor spam. I think point sensor got a bit stronger in the current meta where it's much slower and you have to tag your opponent. You have to know where they are. Inkstorm has always been a top special, and to be fair, the main power up Kensa Pro, the main current Pro makes it really interesting to have it there. I have Kensa Pro just a tier higher, so it's I think that's where we are. H3D. This weapon should have been X tier. Like it was X tier back a month ago, but it got nerfed so much the past last two patches. It got an extra 20 points. The weapon doesn't change, but the meta is so fast. It's much faster compared to this weapon being probably the slowest weapon in the entire fucking game. It can only like it cannot go aggro. You have to like deal with the players that flank you or that rush you down. With your weapon, you have to be able to one clip them with the three shots. It's so hard to actually do consistently when you never have armor available to do it, and 220 points is way too much. And but if they were to put it back at 210, it would probably go up by one or two tiers, probably two, which makes it a bit harder choice. Especially good, I think, in Spy Zone, Clamless and Rainmaker. Maybe not the strongest in TC, but there you have it. Cancer Machine. It was pretty much the same as H3D. It used to be one of the strongest weapons in the game, if not the strongest, back in January and February before getting nerfed. Suffered a lot of nerfs. I think the biggest nerf this weapon suffered was the painting nerf, like the special for the points, the special points. It got from 170 or 180, 170 to 190 points. And if you get splashed down way less, it actually shows that you're gonna struggle a lot more with this weapon. Even then, developers didn't stop there. The weapon was already not the most played. They gave it a physical nerf and a painting nerf or hitbox. I don't remember exactly, but that's it. That's how it got to S rank. It used to be X as well. Solar Slosher. That's a new weapon introduced with the Shell and Picks. I really enjoy it personally when I play it. I like the Spot Bomb. That makes the Slosher a lot more aggro, but at the same time, compared to Flush Deco, you don't have a special that can save your life when you're in a bad situation. You have a Bird Bomb Rush, so you're full exposed when you use it, and it's much harder to use your sub weapon. I don't think you can use your sub weapon when you bomb rush, so you can't really use some Spot Bomb and then at the same time use your Burst Rush. You can only slosh with the burst, and usually you kill faster with the bursts. So I like the special for this weapon. I think it works well. The main weapon is good. The side weapon is fine. It works well with the main weapon. You can have the 70 damage plus 30 damage from the bomb combo. I don't think it's the strongest compared to Slosher Deco, but I still think the weapon is really fine. I think it's a good alternative to Slosher Deco for mode like Tower Control and Rainmaker, where the game is a bit faster and you don't really have always time to use your bowler in front. You don't really need to get the zone back with your bowler or explode next to the baskets in clam blitz. Kansas Mini Splatling. I think Kansas Mini Splatling should be. I don't really know what to say about Kansas Mini Splatling. He has armor, but he has Toxic Mist. Toxic Mist is not good, but Hammer is really good, and the mini has a lot of potential to spam a lot of what the what kind of whatever special it has. You paint so much with this. I really think the sub is making this weapon a little worse than it could be. It could definitely be X tier if it has a bit better sub, but it's not the case, so we're chilling. The Hammer is not gonna invade the X rank after this video. And here we come for another shell and pick weapon, the Heavy Splatling Remix. I personally like it a lot. I hesitated putting it a tier higher, but it just doesn't compare with Heavy Spiraling and its unbeatable Stingray in Tower Controlling Rainmaker that gives you some pushes just by the thing it existing. And speaking of Stingray, we're gonna have the Custom Jet Squasher, one of my favorite backline weapons. I played with the French team at the European Championship. I think it's really easy to pick up backline. You don't need to have a really good aim with it or like any like super good experience. You just need to know positioning correctly, which is maybe the hardest. But the only the big thing is that you can shoot right away. You don't need to charge your shots. You don't need to be in a position where you can always be able to take down flankers. You can shoot right away and shoot continuously, which makes it, I think, a very strong choice for backline if you're not really used to playing backlines, especially if you're used to play shooter. And the burst one has a lot of follow potential. All right, let's get into some controversial part of the tier list. Emperor dualies and Kensa dualies. I'm actually so sad that Kensa dualies are so low in my tier list. It used to be X rank for so long and then full fell down to S plus, and now is it back in S? Like what can I say? I love this weapon so much, Kensa dualies, but I just think it gets destroyed by so many weapons you will see higher in this tier list, aka Cancer Pro, Brella, Slosher Deco, Mini Spatling, Tentabrella, Charger, like everything higher has a really good matchup against Cancer Duelist. I think Cancer is a really good weapon, but everything else in the game is better at the top. Makes it really hard to play. Outside of a few maps where the ball is really strong or the main weapon gets a lot of value from the rolls. So I'm a bit unsure like on Cancer Duelist right now. Couldn't really put it higher. And Emperor Duel is pretty much the same. Used to be a lot better when Inkjet was strong. I think the curling gives the Emperor a lot of mobility options. I think that's what makes it as strong as Kensa Duel is right in my eyes because Suction doesn't do this at all, and the ball gets destroyed for real. You don't have range to follow up anything. But Inkjet can get destroyed a bunch as well, to be honest. Just Curling Bomb and Emperor Dualies are probably as strong as Kensa Dualies. Tetra Dualies, we talked about very hard weapons to play. Well, next two weapons of this tier, so Tetra Dualies and Sorella Brella. Well, these are both super hard weapons to play. To be honest, I think Brella is the hardest weapon in the game right now, probably. But Tetra is one of the hardest, or top three hardest, definitely with probably Charger. I really don't think it's a weapon that you can pick up easily. The weapon can shoot while rolling. I love this kind of idea that's implemented to the game, but at the same time, it's really hard to get anything done if you can't aim like a fucking aimbot every fucking second. And also it has splashdown, which is not a really good special for it. Pretty much the same reasoning as for Sorella Brella, which has Bomb Rush, which is not the best. Auto Bomb, which is not the best, and you have the main weapon, which is really good, but the kid doesn't follow up. Alright then, let's get into S plus tier. Let me take a quick drink because I'm gonna die if I keep talking for so long, but you know. And let's get into Spot Charger first. Where is the scope version? Where's the scope version? It's higher. I think the scope version is significantly better. That it needs to be a tier higher. Because you have the extra range, you have the extra peeking, etc. Charger gets Stingray, Charger Spot Bomb. You rush down the Charger. Charger misses shot. It just shoots the Spot Bomb at your feet. Jumps off. You die to Spot Bomb, or you don't, but he jumps off, and he could delay you so long that he stays alive and uses Stingray from his spawn towards your tower, and your push is over. Congrats for playing the game. Ingrush Rush Nuvo is my kind of my baby in this tier list. I don't like this weapon at all. I just think this weapon is really strong in spot zones, really strong in turf war, and really strong in clan blitz. So my criteria was to have it being strong enough to be a really good pick in two modes at least, and I think this is the case for Ingbrush Nuvo. The bully spam is real. It can actually it give it a lot of invulnerability, like invincibility, and that's where the other Ingbrush lacks for a longer time. I don't think Ingmine is so good, but I think this weapon is one of the strongest in spot zones. It works really well in competitive in Japan, and I think we're gonna see more from this in the West. Kansas Flash Shot. This is the recent big winner of the patches. This weapon has suffered literally zero buff the past few months, like for real. It came out, it was a meme. It was not played at all. At this moment, Tantix Fallshot was still really good with Inkjet. Inkjet got like the biggest like decrease with pretty much no nerf existing. Just everyone figuring out how to deal with it. And Kansas Fallshot is here, just like rising like slowly and surely. Just no one really notices it. And here it comes with missiles being strong enough not to be played really implemented into competitive strategies, which is actually impressive to think about it. Back a year ago, that with pretty much no buff, the Tenta missiles would become a really solid special. And yeah, I think Spy Shot is a really good main weapon. Works well with suction, especially well with suction. And and you get a Tenta missile, you can spam it pretty well in game, and you pretty much when you play Spy Shot and you use missiles, in front of you, you're paving your way. You're making sure that you can go in, and you can go in because your opponents you either know where they are or you know that where they are and you know they are tagged by the missiles, so they cannot focus you. They have to focus on surviving the missiles at the same time. Kansas Spellshot Pro, best weapon in the previous patch, got nerfed 100 and I don't. It got 190 or 200. I don't remember. 200. I think 200 Booyah Ball. It got the main power up nerf. I don't think it's broken anymore. I think it's fine. I don't think they need to change it too much. I really enjoyed playing it in solo. I was pretty much one of the first ones to say this weapon was really good. Pretty much the first player in the West to know that this weapon was gonna be really good. I called it that early, like a month before everyone started playing it. And there you have it. Kansas Spell Shot at the top of the tier list. Rebel got buffed. The main weapon can deal 49.9 damage with enough main power up. Doesn't require any external ability to be very well played. So I'm gonna make a quick comparison about external abilities that require it. For example, Emperor or Kensa Dualies or H3D are both weapons that could gain benefit from main power up to have max damage with it. So 33.3 or 49.9 for H3. Well, both of these weapons need other abilities to be able to be played. Cancer Dualies and Hamper Dualies need comeback. They need some special saver. They need some quick respawn. Emperor Dualies need some special power for the inkjets. H3D needs love ink saver sub, not ink management, etc. There's not abilities you can go away with, and that's why main power up is not played on this weapon and does not make these weapons playable. Main power up makes Cancer Pro playable. This is the only reason why this weapon is so high. Is because of main power up and has a lot of synergy with the spot bomb, gets a lot of killing power. Booyah is good in every mode, to be honest. You stop the tower, you can block the choke points in spot zones and force people. You can even retake the zone, which I don't recommend using Booyah on zone because you just doesn't paint shit. You just want to do kills or force people to go somewhere else. As I said, it's a bowler, and usually a bowler doesn't exactly go for retaking the zone most of the time. You want the bowler to be able to disturb your opponents uh, and completely block their path or force them into your shots. Slash Deco. This weapon has been at the top for a year. When is this weapon getting away? Never. Like legit. This and Charger are the only two weapons that are here for the longest time. And Spotling as well. Anyway, Slash Deco. I already said it like in the past video, but you have Sprinkler, you have Bowler. The weapon it deals really well with the short range weapons, any kind of dually, blasters, power shots. You just slosh over people. You kill them in two shots. You have a lot. You're really good with Igra and fall offs. You paint fairly well. You're not a support weapon, but you paint fairly well with your Sprinkler. And if you're in a bad situation, you use Bowler. You're surviving. Good play. And it's pretty much the same with Explosion. So Explosion is a backline or sometimes a midline, but it paints incredibly well. And even if it's a backline that has Bowler, you want to engage with it most of the time, and you don't want to play it in a mode that is called Tower Control or Rainmaker because it's not good there as a backline. But it's a really solid choice for Spiders and Clamblets. Bowler is really good in both of these modes. The point sense attack is good on a lot of maps nowadays. I talked about it a bit already with the Vanilla Spellshot Pro, and I think that's what makes the Explosion so strong is both the input damage and the painting with with a decent kit for a backline. It undergone a few nerfs in the past patches. I don't think it's really that major. Like it made it drop a bit of popularity, but I still think it's playable. I still think it's S plus. Maybe I'm a bit overrating it to be honest, but I still think it's like really fine to play. Misfiling. So I told you my criteria is to be playable in two modes, at least to be an S plus, as a really good competitive choice. Mini is not a really good competitive choice in four modes, I think. This might be the most controversial choice in my tier list. Most people would probably expect Mini to be X rank, and I don't think it's. I think it's really easy to play weapon. Like you can pick this weapon up and be really good with it easily. It's not the case for Kensa Pro. Kensa Pro, you actually need to be able to aim. But mini spiraling, even if you don't know how to aim, you're gonna paint. If you don't, I just think this weapon is it's not the easiest to play and get results with it. I don't think it's that OP to be honest. The problem is it mainly comes from the burst bomb and the mechanic of the spiraling don't work together too much. Most of the time you just throw one burst bomb. You wanna charge your shots for shooting at someone, and you just don't have enough ink to follow up with the burst bomb, and it's really bad to run a build that focuses on ink management with this weapon. So there you have it, mini spiraling, really good weapon in Spazons, really good probably in Clam Blitz. I think fine in TC, probably pretty bad in Rainmaker because I don't think missiles are too strong there. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion about mini spiraling right now. Now let's get into heavy spiraling. Heavy spiraling, top weapon for a long while. I said it already, but Sprinkler, always been a top sub weapon, gets a lot of paying done. Head filing itself gets a lot of paying done. And you have Stinger ready, which is really a really good choice in a lot of maps, especially in tower control and Rainmaker, which can be also really good in Clamblitz and Spot zones. I don't really talk about Turf War there because I don't really exactly know what is the strongest in Turf War, but if you want to play Turf War competitively, which I understand, but I question still. You probably want to play something like Explosher, No Splashmatic, Slosher Deco, and Min Spitling at the moment. Alright, then bullet points. What a weapon. It undergone crazy nerfed. It was crazy nerf when it came out. I really didn't expect it to be so strong. I didn't realize how bad the other kit was for bullet points. Like, there's a bullet point that has, I think, Toxic Mist and Inkjets. I didn't realize how bad it was compared to Beacon and Inkstorm. Inkstorm is crazy good. Beacon is really fine. With some main weapons, but not all, and it doesn't work on every map, it doesn't work on every mode. So my thinking was that because of beacons, it's not gonna be strong, even if it has Inkstorm. It's not gonna be. I didn't think Inkstorm was a really good viable special for backlines at this moment, but it appears to be Really solid choice since Clam Blitz and Spot Zones. Usually these two moves work together, Spot Zones and Clam Blitz, and Tower Control Rainmaker on the other side. And speaking about the beacon weapon, let's talk about Tentabella for a bit because this weapon has been one of the most underrated weapon for so long. The main weapon is actually insane. I already mentioned it, but this one as Bubble Blower works really well with the main weapon. You just throw your shield in front of you. You shoot your bubbles towards your shield, and the shield is gonna pop the bubbles for you and keep them alive. You're gonna be able to pop them very easily with only one shot of your tent umbrella if no one is contesting, and that's gonna make it a very good weapon for safe pushes in Clamblitz, if not the best weapon in Clamblitz, and also give you opportunities to retake the zone very easily and completely deny choke points for the longest time because the shield has so much health. It's pretty much impossible to shoot down the shield. The player can hide inside the shield, in front or behind the shield, and it's very easy to get away from dying to Splat Bomb or Suction Bomb that is shot towards the shield. If you just need to not stand in the same side, it's pretty predictable when the other players are gonna throw bombs at you. And this is, in my opinion, the best shell and pick weapon. This is the Camo Tent Umbrella. I love it a lot. This I think mine. Alright, ink mine maybe not the best, but it has armor and the main weapon is really fucking good. Um, I think armor has a lot of multi-kill potential. It's pretty hard to take down. It's like you see Inkjet has a lot of killing potential, but you need to be able to aim. You need to see people in front of you, but it's not always like the easiest. And I think Inkjet now gets crushed by a lot of things because of the low mobility. But armor has a lot of mobility. It's on the ground. It's a bit less exposed, although you don't have the range. But you can still throw your hammer in front of you. I like hammer a lot with Tenterbrella because you can stay behind the shield and still shoot. I mean, still hammer the people in front of you and still alive. I think Kama Tenterbrella has a lot of potential to become a super strong choice for not only Clamblitz and Spasms, but maybe more. I still think that Hammer has troubles getting a lot of kills in tower control and Rainmaker, which makes it a bit less interesting. Usually the Camo Umbrella player is the one carrying objective or staying on towers, so that makes it a bit less likely to get the most out of it. And I think that's gonna be it for S plus tier. Let's get into X tier now with my top 3 weapons in the game right now. Charger, Brala, and Kensa Undercover Brala. So before I talk about Kensa Undercover and the rest of the weapons, I just want to say that this tier, I had the widest range of skill within the tier. I think Kensa Undercover is the easiest weapon in the game. I said Mini was easy. I think Kensa Undercover is the easiest weapon in the game. I think Barella and Charger are two of the hardest weapons in the games that are played at the highest level of competitive. Charger requires some crazy aiming skills, consistency, good positioning. You need to be able to jump out, save your stingray most of the time. Barella requires not only your skill but also your internet connection and your opponent internet connection to be at their best to be able to get the most out of your shield and not get shot through it. So basically staying alive. But Bra is the best 1v1 weapon in the entire game. It's pretty much impossible to lose a 1v1 using Umbrella against any kind of mid or short range weapon existing in the game. They are not using a special to stay invincible from you. It pops the bullet very fast. It can deal with mispiling the best in my opinion, but it's so hard to play. It is so hard to play. I put it in EX, but I just assume that you guys are gods. Like to be honest, like that's the only way to play it. You need to be a complete god, and that's not. I wouldn't say it's not the case for Charger. You need to be a complete god as well, but it's just a bit less hard. And concern the color, well, you don't you don't need to even like you just need to shoot your torpedo at the guy in front of you, and you spam armor for your teammates. So obviously in solo queue this weapon might be a bit weak because you don't get the solo kills you need to solo carry games. You don't always get the perfect timing to use it with your slayers. You don't really need to protect a backline player, but can stand the cover. Weapon to spam armor right now. Probably one of the most popular weapon in the game, if not the most popular weapon. I think Ken's the cover is the weapon that's the most played right now. Every map mode confirm like just because it's so easy to play everywhere. It doesn't require any kind of skill like for really aiming. Doesn't require any kind of really high positioning. You can be really good with undercover Brella for real, but you just like gets it's so hard to get the three shots on someone in front of you. If you're not in a situation where you are completely in 1v1. I think gets undercover, the skill cap goes from simply playing it and throwing torpedoes to winning 1v1s against most mid to short range weapons. But all these 1v1s will heavily cost you. You will take damage. You will lose your shield. You absolutely need to be able to win these encounters, or otherwise you're completely fucked. Um, but still, something can stand the cover does pretty well. It just kills way slower than the normal bra. Normal bra has Inkstorm, which retakes every zone, gives you some pushes, saves your tower, saves your Rainmaker, and completely unifies some area armor. I already talked about armor in my other video. I recommend you watch it if you're not sure about how strong armor is as a special. But there you have it. And torpedo, crazy painting from Undercover, gets a lot of things done here, and I think that's gonna be it for me about this tier list. I really tried to make it short, but fucking hell, it's fucking long, bro. Oh, it's unlucky. It's unlucky. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something. Maybe you disagree with my opinion. Tell me in the comments below why, and if you agree, tell me as well in the comments. Like I would like to know if you're agreeing or not. Please leave a like as well or subscribe if you haven't already. And that was Sorin. I'll see you again later. Thanks for watching, guys.